Jack Draper lost in the second round of the Madrid Open. Jack Draper singled out Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik as he shared his biggest problem on the tennis circuit. The British number 2 suffered a tough loss in the second round of the Madrid Open on Friday. And he is now aiming to boost his ranking high enough to get seeded and avoid the top players in the early rounds. Draper has long been tipped for big things, but injuries have stunted his young career. The 22-year-old has often been forced to retire from matches, and in 2023 alone he suffered from cramping and injuries to his abdomen and shoulder. But this season has been a different story for Draper, who has been able to compete week in, week out on the ATP Tour. His biggest issue now is being unseeded at the big events. As he looks to climb up to the top of tennis, Draper has explained how different his path has been compared to Alcaraz and Sinner. "I think I can count this as kind of my first proper year on tour. The times before I was playing and I was top 50 in the world, but I wasn't a tour player," the world number 43 said on Friday. "I was getting injured for 2 months, then coming back, then playing pretty well, and then going away again, and then dropping outside of the top 100. This year is the first time I'm playing top 10 players, top 20 players week in, week out. And also not being seeded at these tournaments. You have a decent first round win and then you've got to play a Hubert, Hurkacz or a Taylor, Fritz or someone who is a top player." Despite suffering a tough 6-1-7-5 loss to Hurkacz, the Brit is happy to have the chance to pick up some experience after struggling to play full seasons in the past. He continued, "I think all these matches are really good for me, just learning more. I'm definitely gaining more experience at this level. Even a match like today, I can draw so much from it. And I think everyone is on their own journeys. You look at Sinner or Alcaraz. Obviously they're amazing players at the top of the game, but if you probably look at their results, they've been on tour for 3 more years than I have. They've played 250 matches, I've probably played about 90 so far. So there's a lot of learning and a lot of experiences for me to come. And I'm hungry, I want to be a top player." Being a top player would give Draper a seeding at the biggest events, meaning he'd avoid other big names in the early rounds. He added, "Not being seeded is really difficult because you have to play top 20 players first, second round, so it's hard to sort of get into the tournament.